Coming at you live from Skeleton City. Today's question is about how do I feel about the way I look? Can you please talk about your body image? Like, do you ever think about how you look? And what do you think about how you feel and stuff? So, do I ever think about how I look? I mean, to a certain degree, everybody's going to think about how they look, but what I really focus on in life is performance. So before I'm going to focus on how I look, I'm going to focus more so on how I feel, which is the second part of the question. How do I feel? I feel amazing. Every single day I wake up, I feel 10 out of 10. Like with how light I am, obviously I've told everybody I'm into running, cycling, skateboarding. So for all those things, being this light makes me feel amazing. But even for like day-to-day activities like mopping the floor or, doing some laundry, things like that, being light feels great. I don't have any qualms with like day-to-day life of like, oh, I feel too skinny, like this doesn't make me feel good. Or like, oh, I'd be able to do this easier if I was heavier or if I had more muscle or whatever. Like maybe the occasional, you got a treadmill delivered to your house and you need to bring in like a massive treadmill. Like, yeah, then would it be helpful to have some more muscle? Yeah, I'm sure it would. But how often does that ever happen? Never. Like, one guy asked me once, like, how are you gonna bring in the groceries? Like, the other day, we get Walmart delivery, and they always deliver it to the house behind because we have the same address number, but it's a different street, and, like, Google Maps or whatever, like, has it wrong. So they're always delivering our groceries to the street behind us. So they delivered this huge order of groceries. It had a watermelon, tons of those frozen juice concentrates, like, a bunch of stuff. So I walked to the street behind, and I got all the groceries, and it was really heavy. I don't know how many pounds it was, but it was pretty heavy, but I walked all the groceries home. And when I got back, I told my wife, I'm like, you should have taken a video of me so I could have posted it to that guy that said, I'm not going to be able to lift groceries or take groceries in from the car. But the point is, I brought all my groceries from the street behind, and it was like, a 3-minute walk or 4-minute walk, and I carried all this heavy watermelon, etc., all the way home. I didn't have any issues with that. So day-to-day life, being this light, is 99.9% not an issue unless I get heavy furniture or a treadmill delivered to my house. That would be the one time where I could say, hey, you know what? I wish I had a little bit more muscle. But again, these are rare instances. But back to the original question, do I ever think about how I look? Again, like I said, I'm very performance-based. I'm always looking for what makes me perform or feel the best. I look at it like a car. Like, I'd rather have a Toyota Prius, even though it looks dorky and it's not a cool-looking car. Then again, those new Priuses, someone did mention in the comments that the new Priuses look a lot better, and they do. But I'm talking about the OG Priuses. They're not particularly a cool looking car, but they're very performance-based. When I say performance, I mean efficient. They get the best gas mileage. They're very reliable. They're very dependable. Toyota's been known to be very dependable cars. So I would rather drive a Toyota Prius than drive something cool. I don't even know what a cool car is, like a Mustang or a Camaro or whatever's deemed a cool car. That I would rather drive something that has better performance, reliability, efficiency, etc. Another good example is what I wear when I go out on my bike, when I go on bike rides. I wear all bright yellow. And people make fun of me, people in my cycling groups kind of poke fun at it. Does it look ridiculous? Yeah, I look like a human highlighter. It looks pretty dumb, but performance-wise, my goal is to go on a bike ride and not be run over by a car. So I wear the clothing that has the best performance, which is being seen, If it was I Am Legend and I was the last person on Earth, would I wear all fluorescent yellow? No, because it wouldn't matter because there's no cars on the road. And keep in mind, cyclists already don't look cool, in my opinion at least. We're all wearing spandex and these dumb little helmets and everything. So cycling in and of itself, I don't particularly think looks very cool. But if there was nobody else around, I would wear all black because, maybe I could look like Batman or something on my little Batpod bicycle. And ultimately, I think that would look cooler than looking like a highlighter. But again, my goal is performance. That's sort of how I feel about my body as well. Do I think I look amazing? Honestly, I don't really care, first off. But I grew up with the same stuff you guys all grew up with, you know what I mean? I was conditioned to, I grew up on X-Men and Dragon Ball Z, Super Saiyan mode, all that. I've also been conditioned to think a male body should look like, a huge jacked, roided out, whatever. Yeah, I can understand that looks better. But again, if that's not going to make me perform better, then I just don't really care. It doesn't matter. I'm not looking for a certain aesthetic. I'm looking for a certain performance. But I'm not like a robot where like I don't ever look in the mirror and I don't ever like have any like self-reflection or things like that. When I was fat, that did bother me. When I looked in the mirror, I was not proud of what I look like. You know, I felt shame. But again, I felt shame because of performance, because I knew that when I looked at myself and I was almost obese, I knew that I wasn't performing my best. I knew I wasn't capable of performing my best. And I knew other people would look at me and be like, oh, that fat dude right there, like, you know what I mean? He definitely doesn't feel good. He doesn't perform good. So I think that shame more so came from like, not necessarily like an aesthetic point of view, but more like an incapable point of view, if that makes sense. I just felt incapable of being like a healthy, strong human being, I guess. But yeah, I responded to the person that asked this question, and I basically gave them like a watered down version of what I just said about performance, etc. And they responded and sort of said like, I don't believe you. So I don't know if like this person is implying that like I just love the way I look like a skeleton. Like they think like I get off, you know, like I'm an A-word sort of deal, where like I think like being like a skinny, spooky skeleton looks like, you know, I don't know, sexy or like cool, or like I basically have, you know, some form of body dysmorphia or whatever. But I swear on everything, like that's not how it is. Like that's not why I'm doing what I do. Ultimately, in a roundabout way, I just love the way I feel and perform being this light. It's really not any more complicated than that. So yeah, I hope I answered your question. I figured this would probably be a longer answer than would fit in a Q&A, so I made a separate video on it. But yeah, let me know your guys' opinion. Do you guys think I'm full of it, or does like the whole aesthetic versus performance thing make sense to you guys? So until next time, Skeleton Crew, stay bony.